we've got seeds now. I've got them in my hand here, which I've had in this jar. They're the seeds that I plant each year. All these seeds in this bowl that's left in there are small cactus. These come out of the patch where there's only small cactus, and these are done by bees. I think there was a couple done by hand, but they're all mixed up in together. Now I grow them into the trays, direct into the trays, because these, when they're sown out, are going into the fernery. They're not going out into sunlight, which I can directly put in there. The reason I do that is a lot of your seed that you get, although you think it's real good seed, but it's not. Don't know how hard you try, you'll always get some seed that has got no centres in them, and with a result, if you put them in single containers, you've got damn well nothing really. This way you only plant out your seedlings, and you've already got them in your actual trays growing, and just plant them out in the fernery. The heat bed that you can buy, and as you can see, the seeds come up, still coming up in that. These seeds were planted the same as are in the trays in at the same time. I have another machine that made up myself, and it's a lot quicker than what this is. But if you only got a few, it's still quite good. It's got a heat bank inside. The main thing when you're doing seedlings is where you put your tray with your seed machine. Don't put it in a hothouse or anywhere else. This is under iron here where it keeps cool. If you were to put this in any sunlight or anywhere, it heats up. The heat of the sun will heat the hothouse too hot for the seeds. You will lose the control of your thermostat because it's going to get too hot. The thermostat will stop it from going down in actual temperature because it'll cut in, but it can't reduce the temperature when it exceeds 22 degrees. Now from 19 to 22 degrees is your right temperature for seed, for a Dahlia seed. It's a shallow seed that's sown in the tops of the trays and just covered, so therefore it takes less temperature. I'll show you the machine that I've made up, which fires them a lot quicker. It's placed on the concrete floor in the shed, virtually in the dark. The concrete floor controls the temperature instead of being in a direct in sunlight. The actual concrete is the coolest thing you can get. The temperature then is controlled by the thermostat. So, but before you set up and put seeds in, put a thermometer in there and regulate so you're getting between 19 and 22 degrees. If it doesn't do that, then either turn it up or turn it down till it gets into that range. Quite often I've made the mistake of thinking, oh yeah, put them in, and run a while later that they haven't come up. If you have a look, there's no seed. They've just rotted away. I've cooked them. So make sure your temperature, even in these, are the right temperature before you put your seed in. So in other words, put a tray in there, put your thermometer in there, and then just check it to see if it's around that temperature. There's the machine that we used. Over in the wall over there is the actual thermostat. It's just a double. There's a heater out of a double water bed, and it's a box made out of box system, lined with plastic, and a plastic lid on the top. Same thing applied what's around there. This is on the concrete floor where it holds its temperature. The seed in here was planted on Wednesday night. This is Saturday, and you can already see them coming up. So what are you looking at? 3 days. Within 7 days, these are taken out and are as high as the rest of them within 7 days. And yeah, placed as you can see, the trays have got a little bit of timber on them, so the air circulates around underneath them, and there's gaps in between. Now, the other thing I want to explain too, there's no super or fertiliser in this whatsoever. It's just normal. I found that yeah, they seem to go better on without the super, just as long as you make up a good mix, and when you put them out in the ground, they take off and away they go. Now, the mix I use is half sand, the same sand, with a rotted down bark, or like a composted, and it's put through a screen to get it fine enough. It's about half and half with the sand, and the thing is that the best way of telling it, if your mix is about right, you want it so when you put these trays in and water them with a can, and give them a real good watering, so the water fits down at the bottom, so that once I'm using the water to actually steam them as well, the water should soak through almost immediately and don't puddle. I used a seed raid mix the other day to see what the difference between mine and the bought ones were, and I did actually that tray there, and I found that it puddled too much. It was far too heavy and not enough sand in it. So I've just left that the way it is, and already you can see that these ones around here are far more advanced than what these two are here. And I wouldn't be surprised if I get less out of these trays I do out of those trays, because the moisture, it was too heavy and it'd be too wet. It'll hold moisture too much. So that's what I've actually done. I'll take it and show you the actual mix now that I use to grow the actual seeds in. This is the spare soil that I had over, if I want to put some more trays down, and you can see how free it is with the sand in it. Ideal if you can get hold of some peat from like bunny salad without fertiliser in it, and then put a little bit of that through it, and that's the mix there when it's just dry. It's quite free,